Welcome to Keeping It Real, where we feature entrepreneurs who are passionate about their business and have participated in our guest blog, shareyourstories.online. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Bianca Charles, founder and CEO of Feet First Clinic, who shares a passion for fitness and is dedicated to helping you with your foundation. Bianca joins us today from Toronto. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
You know what's really amazing is we all start our businesses with a great idea. And when I read your blog this morning, I was really intrigued by your light bulb moment. So why don't you tell us a little bit about why you started the clinic?
Sure. I started the clinic because feet are the foundation for so many people, and it's something that isn't considered. When you think about your teeth, it's something that you've done since you were 6 months. You started using a toothbrush, but no one's ever thinking about how to cut your toenails, or what shoes to actually wear. So bridging that gap to have everything all in one, having the foot specialist, the shoes, any sort of foot product, and making the community and sort of Toronto, let's say, aware of everything that they would need to know or need to have in-house, is something that we thought was super important to have.
So tell us a little bit about how you connect with your customer, because you're absolutely right. You know, I call the feet the shock absorbers of the body, right? Like we use them all the time, every day. The only time we're not using them is when we're sleeping or sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of communicate with the customer to sort of let them know that you're there and that you can help them with all the really wonderful things that have to do with their feet?
Well, firstly, signage is super important to really help people understand what you do. And at first, my sign was super sleek on the window that just said Feet First Clinic, but that wasn't enough. And since then, years ago, I actually listed out the conditions that people have, because people are aware of what foot conditions they may have. And especially with Dr. Google, it gives you everything you need to know and sometimes scares you to the point where it's like, you book that appointment. Also, we communicate that through blogs. We do about 2 a week. Previously, we did more, maybe like 4 or 5, just communicating and making it user friendly. So we're not using the jargon that we would use in-house, really speaking to them, what things they may be doing, the conditions they may actually have. And that just helps with the actual search terms when they're searching ingrown toenail Toronto, because it's super simple. And they just need that reinforcement online. Also putting the images to the words so they can connect with that. And also in-house, making it super clear as to what we do, thinking about the signage that's in the actual treatment room. So when people are there, they don't even know sometimes why they're here. They're coming in because maybe someone told them about this place that's so great and go get your feet done. So they're here and have no clue. Also, I would say one of the biggest drivers is the in-house staff, letting them know, educating them, really explaining to them what treatment they're going to get for what condition. I would say those are some of my biggest ways of how I connect with people. And then, of course, like day-to-day stuff, whoever I meet, it's something that always comes up, like, what do you do? And then we sort of go into it and they share their foot stories with me.
For sure.
So I would say that's the biggest way of how we connect with people.
So tell me a little bit about your passion, because, I must admit that even though we all have challenges with our feet, what gave you the push to start the clinic? Because your background is in with having a love of fitness, and your career has sort of taken some different, like all of us, we start out in one sort of industry and then we move into something different. So tell us about how you became passionate about opening the clinic.
Yeah, for sure. My mom actually worked for a foot specialist, and that's where the whole idea came from. Seeing how many people he would actually help, and understanding, for me, it's like, what's the bridge between orthopedic and stylish, right? Because most of the time that we're on our feet, we're in shoes. So how do we bridge that gap between orthopedics that aren't so sexy, and everyone wants to have a really nice shoe? And how do we bridge that? So part of my passion, yes, it is fitness for sure. And I've sort of definitely maintained that, but not to the point where I was a bodybuilder and working out 3 hours a day and eating like crazy amounts or whatever the case is. So we're finding that. And I would say, as I've grew within my business, also the shoe industry has grown in terms of the brands that I sell. So, truthfully, in the very beginning, maybe it's been a transition for me to actually adapt with this type of footwear and make it and bring it into my actual outfits, because everybody wants to look good from head to toe, and really a shoe can really make or break an outfit. So yeah, just bridging that gap and truly learning as I go with the patient feedback, what works, buying less, giving them less options. My passion also is just like, to have something that's my own, and to, run a really good team that is cohesive and works together. Because previously I worked for quite a large company, and, decision making takes forever and there's such slow change. And I'm all about like having a good day every day, and how do you make that happen? And for me, it is, being the leader of this team.
That's a really great point that you make, having a great day every day, because I know you've been in business now for over 10 years. And so, of course, you have a lot of experience in being an entrepreneur and leading a team of individuals. So for our viewing and listening audience who may be just embarking on the whole journey of, hiring their first employee or maybe expanding their team, what would be something that you might be able to share with them that helps you to translate that having a great day to your entire team? Is there something really interesting that you do as a company?
I would say being very clear and transparent from the very beginning of meeting them. I try to let them know exactly what the clinic's like, the expectations that I have. And I think as I've grown, I've gotten super clear with that. Before, I used to sort of ask questions and it wasn't enough. So I would say that's a really good point. So we're both on the same page, that you want to work for me and I want to work with you. And then I would say being consistent every single day, and setting clear expectations for them, so they know exactly what the Feet First Clinic needs, as well as giving them some freedom to really flourish in their strengths. And sometimes in an interview or a resume, you don't understand exactly what that person could offer you. So sort of, adapting in moments and sort of giving them maybe new tasks, whether it's administrative assistant, for example, you may be doing our outfits posts right now, right? So that's something new for us, for example. Also being super open. They can always contact me, speak to me at any moment. They can always ask me questions. So keeping a very open relationship and communication style, I think, is very helpful. And just creating, a place where everyone feels equal, regardless of your title or what you're doing. Everyone should be treated with respect, and everyone should be able to ask a question. There's no stupid questions. And I'd rather you ask than, sit there for an hour feeling nervous to even ask a question. So I always reinforce that from the beginning, saying, come to me at any time. I'm always available as much as I can be.
For
I would
sure.
say those are some of my go-tos.
I know that you believe in lifelong learning, and because that's actually how you and I met. We met at an event where we were networking and talking to other entrepreneurs. So, have you taken a course or some sort of it might even just be special interest, where you had an opportunity to really expand your horizons and then come back to your team with a new idea or vision? Is there anything in the last year that you can think of where it was really helpful to you to be a part of that community?
I would say the FWE where we met.
Right.
Before that, I've never done any courses, and it really emphasized how much I need to work on my business. And it's
Right.
something that I truly have. That is one thing that I walked away and was super clear to me that I have not been doing. I'm always in here.
Right.
I'm trying to work on it, but it's not a priority. And I can't honestly say that it's something that I do every week, but it's in my
Yeah.
mind and I'm actively thinking about it and working on it, maybe 2 hours a day kind of thing, or an hour a day. But yeah, I would definitely encourage and say that was such a great experience. And also to be with like-minded people really
Mhm.
shows you, when you're in your sort of own bubble or store or home or wherever your workspace is, to, connect with people to say, okay, I need to be doing more of this. I need to be focusing on more of my numbers, because you only know what you know, or you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So I would say that was such an awesome experience. And also just to connect with those ladies and have group chats. Maybe it's about an online store that I'm wanting to open, and just, expedite that process. I would say it was a phenomenal experience, FWE.
Well, I will say that in the end of our guest blog, one of the things that we do is we share 3 words of advice. And so sort of to wrap up our conversation today, your 3 words are experience, drive, and embrace. So tell us a little bit about those.
So for experience, I would say all my life, hard work has been like my number one driver. Going to university wasn't for me. I did go to college. I want to be a police officer, actually. So funny that I ended up here. But I think, based on my experience, I think it's super important to be adaptive, change with the times, and fast. Things change fast. COVID hit, businesses closed. So what do? For me, I worked on my business for those 3 months. So I had isolated 3 months, which was beautiful. Or you could have opened an online store to be connecting with people. Or whether it's social media or, working on your systems. I think based on my experience, that is something that I've learned. And I think it's super important because times change, people change, social platforms change. And just because we don't want to do online, advertising, for example, let's say on Instagram, because it's not my comfort zone and it's not my thing. I've realized after stopping and starting for so many years, how beneficial it is to build a brand or build your community or build yourself if you're a blogger, whatever the case is. So I would say for experience, that is some of my go-tos. And then for drive, I would say having self-discipline, showing up every day like it's your first day. It's so easy to be motivated as you begin any new endeavor or any new journey. But I think it's the follow through that really sets people apart. I don't think it's sometimes who's smarter. I think it's who would work harder because the job needs to get done. Or, even if you can't get the job done, then figure out who you can get to get it done. And then I would say what was the other one I said?
Embrace. Your last one was embrace.
Yeah, you got to embrace change. I plan every day for the day. This morning, I walk into new things all the time. And I think, being on your toes, being quick, you never know who's going to walk in your door if you have a, client facing business, or you never know who's going to be unhappy. And how do you deal with those situations fast? How do you react so that they're not, tainting any of the other clients that may be in your waiting room, for example? Or employees, dealing with them on the fly. Things just don't go as planned. And I think those are some of my biggest things that have helped me get to where I am today.
Well, I would like to really thank you, Bianca, for spending some time with us today and sharing those little nuggets of information because, to your point, our journey changes through time and what we need at different stages in our career changes as well. So to our listening and viewing audience, I hope you introduced the person behind the logo today and got to know a little bit more about Bianca and her business. And we'd like to thank you for joining us in this edition of Keeping It Real.
Thanks for having me.